How to run faster, stronger feet. I'll explain why this is so important to me as I come back from the sacrum injury. And you might need a few items. It helps, not 100% necessary. In fact, you can do some of these exercises and movements sitting at your desk at work, but you might want to keep your socks on, just saying. But no, we're going to do this barefoot because that's so key in order to really target the intrinsic muscles within your feet. All right, let's set all this up here. So I even brought a chair out. Yes, for some of these you can do standing, but to start, you might want to start off with sitting. All right, and before we go too far here, I'll take my shoes off. Question of the day: who has had a foot injury, and how did you overcome it? Oh, have I ever? Plantar fasciitis. It could be my middle name. I battled it probably in middle school, a little bit in high school, and then definitely in college. So, oh man, what I wouldn't give to know what I know now, back 15 years ago, what I wouldn't give to know the information just to stay healthy. Now, for me, all right, avoiding injury. Why do I want to work on these little muscles? And yes, the ligaments, which for those that don't know, ligaments is what connects our bones together in our feet. Now, you've probably heard of your core, okay? Your core, your torso, essentially. Well, have you heard of your foot core? So these little intrinsic muscles in your feet, but then also the ligaments. The ligaments, as I just mentioned, the ligaments connecting our bones together is just so important for me, foot fatigue. Who has just been in the middle of a run and your feet just start screaming at you? And they're just like achy and tired, and it definitely has happened to me, out on the trails especially, when I'm going past, I would say like 22 miles, 23 miles, where the feet just get tired. That's why I'm doing these exercises. Point number 2 is power, okay? Road or trail. If you watch any very successful, usually the elite marathon runners, their toe off is something special to behold. Their entire running gait is amazing, but watch their toe off. It's so smooth, effortless, and it's getting their leg through that swing phase so efficiently that they can move to the next step and to the next step. So the toe off, so key. So power generation is also going to be happening because of these exercises. And for me, I'm pointing to the mountains, steep FKTs, steep mountain races. The ability to dig into the ground, but then to efficiently push off. It all is, not all, but it really does start right at the bottom of your big toes and all your toes, and then boom, into the next step up the mountain. And many of you have probably heard of the GRF, the ground reaction force, okay? So when you're coming down and you're landing, that's that force. Sometimes it's harder for other runners for some runners over other runners, and it's how you're starting with your feet, react to the ground. And that's what I'm talking about with that toe off. So the GRF, the ground reaction force. But for me, I'm so excited for the future, but I got to do this right now before I can get excited about what hopefully is going to happen in the mountains in the future is agility on the trails. The ability to pick your feet up and move them over the rocks, over the roots, over the creeks, whatever condition you're running in out, over the mud. The agility on the trails is also going to be improved by what I'm about to show you. First thing, I like to start with kneeling, but eventually you can move to standing. 1 minute, both feet, so 1 by 1 minute for both feet. So this is a foot log. Yes, it's available at DeMoorglobalrunning.com/gear. All right, I forget how much it is. I don't think it's much more than $20. I've had this, for as long as you all have been watching this channel, 4 or 5 years I've had this foot log. I use this as a warm-up, okay? So 1 minute for each foot. After the warm-up, here we go, sitting in a chair. You can do this at your office, at your kitchen table. And again, we are targeting the small muscles, ligaments, for that overall range of motion in the feet. We're not trying to get above the ankle. We will get a little bit, but it's really in the feet that we're honing in on, all right? So starting off with feet tapping, it's just very simple. You're sitting, all right? I like to try and keep my shoulders back, and then you're just raising your foot up off the ground, holding for a second at the top. So it's 2 by 30 reps for each foot, all right? So it'll be 120 total. So, all right, so by the end, your foot will be a little tired. And again, this is targeting the muscles on the top of the feet. Next up, toe rockers. 3 sets of 10, but I would start with 2 sets of 5, okay? Truly, and maybe take a minute break in between because this is pretty hard, okay? So you're gonna start in this position on your toes, okay? And eventually, so what we're working on here is strength for sure, but also the range of motion. So when you're digging in the mountain, you're digging on the roads, you can really project yourself forward, push yourself forward down the track, down the road, over the cross-country course. So you're on your toes here, but eventually as your soleus and calf muscle stretches out, you're gonna be able to get your heels down on the ground. In fact, let me just move this stuff here so you can really see it all. Okay, there we go. All right, so there it's starting here, and you don't want to use your hands on the ground, okay? You want to try and avoid that, all right? So you're going to rock forward, okay, onto your knees, and then bring your toes up, okay? And then you're gonna rock backward. This is where the rocker comes in. Lean back, okay, but go slow. That's key. And then come back, and then put your toes back underneath you, and then rock backward, and that's one. And then eventually, you can also go to the standing position. So, boom, back down, down, down. So rock back, down. So 3 sets of 10, it will work you. Here we go. Next up, towel toes. Many of you probably have already done this. So you're just, all right, you put a towel on the ground, you're sitting on a chair. I learned this probably in middle school, 25 years ago to help me get over plantar fasciitis. So this is working your arch especially, okay? And your toes, no doubt, but I feel it most in my arch when I'm doing towel toes, where you scrunch up the towel. And now this towel, I'm probably gonna get another one at some point, one that's a little bit longer, but you wanna scrunch it up all the way. And what you're doing is you're flexing your toes, scrunching up this towel under your foot, and it takes a little while. So I do 2 sets for each foot, all right? So once the towel is totally scrunched up, then, and it should take you about 30 to 45 seconds to scrunch up the towel. All right, I'm about done there. Again, I need to find a better towel. I used to have a longer one, but I'm not sure what happened to it. All right, so we'll do the other foot. Towel toes, 2 sets on each foot. Next up, invert/evert coordination, 2 sets of 10. You can do this sitting down. I'm sitting down right now, or you can do it standing up, okay? So standing up, I actually prefer standing up, but you might need to start in the sitting position, and you're basically rolling to the left, and rolling to the right, holding for 1 second on top. And then, so this is where the agility on the trails really comes into play, okay? And after, oh man, I mean, once you do this, I mean, you can feel it, and you shouldn't feel it too much in your ankles. You want to really target your feet. So the slower the better through the movement from invert to evert, all right? So there you go, invert/evert coordination, 2 sets of 10. Next up, once again, in the chair. If you don't have access to a chair, you could do this sitting on the ground as well. All right, 4-foot abduction, and you need a spot to put a resistance band. You put your foot through the resistance band, okay? And then you're rotating your foot outward, all right? So that's where the abduction comes in. Let me just get lined up here so I'm nice and square, all right? And you're gonna do 2 sets of 10 on both feet. So boom, and if you are prone to rolling your ankles out on the trails, all right, and woo, oh my goodness, this is a work, oh my. So I'm feeling it right here on the outside of the foot, especially through this abduction movement. And then after 10, you'll switch. After the abduction, you better believe it. So once you do one foot, you do the other, then adduction, slightly different spelling, all right, not to be confused with abduction, all right? So you're gonna move your foot out, so the resistance band is pretty tight, but nothing crazy. You want it so see that tension there, and then you're moving your ankle inward, all right? So you don't want imbalances happening, by doing these exercises. So abduction and adduction, again, 2 sets of 10, both feet. All right, there you have it. So now after the abduction, we're not done yet. Abduction, adduction, dorsiflexion. So for this one, get rid of the chair, sit on the ground. I'm actually gonna do my left foot just so you can see better. All right, here we go. and back it up so the tension is there in the band, and it's like driving a car, okay? Feet on the gas, feet off the gas, feet on the gas or the brake, feet off the brake, okay? And you do 2 sets, once again, 2 sets of 10, both feet. You will definitely feel it by the end, and you're just flex, and this is targeting those intrinsic muscles, ligaments on top of your foot. Next one, pretty simple, 3 sets by 10 meters. The toe balance. I'm up on my toes right now. I'll get a close up here in a second. All right, back and forth 3 times, so 30 meters total. After 10 meters, you can take a little break, maybe 10, 15 seconds, and then go back. And then, boom, reverse heel walking. All right, so now I'm walking on my heels, again, targeting the top of my feet with this movement here. All right, 3 sets of 10 meters. So we're going backward on our heels. Woo! And this is helping, again, what I mentioned at the beginning with agility out on the trails. I need to continue. So these toes, actually up on your toes and then on your heels, I'm trying to become more agile, more nimble, more confident in my foot strike out there in the roots and rocks when I'm, trying to fight the aging process. Okay, there it is. We're almost done. But just a reminder, we're not ballerinas and we're not figure skaters. We're runners, all right? We are runners, so I like to, now this is this is working your entire kinetic chain, no doubt. But I like to just dial in and focus on the feet, quick feet, barefoot on grass, 2 by 30 seconds each. It's actually a workout. Slightly bent legs, all right? So quick feet, you're trying to lift your feet off the ground as quick as possible and then bringing them back down, okay? 2 by 30 seconds. And this is just to remind the feet that we're not supposed to be landing and holding the foot on the ground for, a half a second. We're supposed to be just touching, just very light on our feet, very light, agile. What I keep saying about getting out on the trails, being agile out there, all right? So 2 by 30 seconds for quick feet. And last but not least, you better believe it, the disc. Oh, the disc. I love the balance disc, but this time, okay, you've seen me rotate my ankles both counterclockwise and clockwise at my house, in the basement, where I do that, but that's not what we're doing today. Barefoot, staying still, single leg, eyes closed. But trust me, DGR, work up to this. It's gonna take you time to feel confident with this. It's very, very difficult. But when you do that, you start to target those little muscles in your feet. I promise you, it's not easy. So you don't want to do this big rotating motion. None of that. You're just standing still, but then boom, and oh yeah, how long? Again, 2 sets by 30 seconds for both legs. Okay, and I'm, my coordination on my left side is not nearly as good as my right side. So this one is the one that struggles a little bit more. But once you close those eyes, and you're probably like, well, how do I know it's 30 seconds? I don't know. You're gonna need a timer that talks to you. All right, I hope that helped everybody. And here's a title one more time with all of the exercises. Just as a reminder, okay, starting with a warm-up and all the way down to this blue disc here. So we'll get you the comment of the day in a second. And again, this is just back to strategizing for me, how to stay healthy moving forward, which should equal running faster, racing faster, being more confident in the agility on the trails and staying healthy out there on the trails by not tripping. And oh man, but sometimes you think it's just about the running. It's just about the workouts. Well, sometimes it starts at the ground, literally the push off of that ground. How strong are you through that foot strike? I'm always talking about the foot strike. That is why we're doing these here on the channel. All right, looking forward to reading your comments about how hopefully you were able to overcome your foot injuries in the past. And that's why I got to keep doing this stuff. All right, and you get the comment of the day. She says, love watching these instructional videos. I went to the track today for the first time in over 10 years. Had almost as beautiful scenery as you with the mountains and pine trees nearby. Did some of your dynamic warm-ups too. Very good, Ann. I hope it helped. I could not believe how smooth and forgiving the tracks are now compared to the ones of my youth. It's so true, Ann. They have gotten very nice out here. I had a cinder dirt track in high school. It's still there. It's still cinder. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, onward we go. We will toss it to we will toss it to the How to Run Faster playlist. Of course, lots of good videos there. Some of them need to be updated, but man, there's a lot going on right there, right there, right there. All right, seek beauty. Actually, is it right here? Seek beauty, work hard, and love each other. See you tomorrow.